Hey there, welcome to saas.unbound, brought to you by saas.group. I'm your host, Anna Dana, and this is the show where we chat with inspiring founders and experts to get an inside scoop on how they made their business a success. And today with me is Antoine Minoux. Very good to see you here. A product designer, founder with 2 exits, right? Building Fernand. I'm going to use my best French accent. The customer support tool for modern SaaS, and also ImprovMX, a tool for better email forwarding, which has been around for 10 years, right? You're also a principal product designer at Yelp, recently a father. I mean, have you acquired a time turner? Like, what do you do?
Yeah. First, thanks for having me.
Sure.
It's great to be here. Yeah, that's the question I get often. Like, wait, how do you get the time?
Right.
Where do you find the time to do all of this? And I think the answer is there is not a real way to solve it, right? Like you've joked about a time turner. That would be the ideal solution.
Yeah.
Like I say often to my co-founder, I wish this day would have 48 hours instead of 24. I think, though, I became at peace with this, with just being, agreeing that we are slower. It's fine, you know. And then a lot of different things that I put on my work structure, on myself, routines and stuff to make it as easy or manageable as possible. But yeah, should I go into this?
Sure, we'll get there.
Yeah, so I'm a principal product designer at Yelp by day, let's say.
Yeah.
And I run those 2 other products by night. The thing that allows me to do this the most is that I only have a 4-day work week at Yelp. So I'm working Monday to Thursday and Fridays off. So I can dedicate the whole day on Fridays to my companies. Which is not a lot, right? Like,
right, still.
Can you do it not on Monday? But it has the amazing advantage to make me focus like crazy. I don't have the time to be like, polishing every detail on Figma, for example. I design everything directly in the browser, or most of it. We don't spend month thinking about strategy. We just build things, iterate quickly, see if it sticks or not. Make it better or kill it, etc. So having just this one focus day per week really pushed me in like being a maniac at like making decisions quickly.
Okay, well, you've been doing it for 10 years. Maybe you've perfected the process a little bit. But still, you have your own 2 businesses now, right? And you're working for Yelp. Completely different setup as far as I would assume. So does it help coming from such a big company? Or I guess it started a little bit later, right? You first got ImprovMX and then you went to Yelp. But still, like how does it help or maybe challenge what you're doing?
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, I love the scale of a company like Yelp. I find it fascinating. I'm learning a ton. It's like going to a free university for me, or I've dropped out of university. I never got this chance to experience something else than what I've built for myself, which was building small bootstrap SaaS companies and freelance, so contracting as a product designer for mostly e-commerce brands and SaaS companies, and also Yelp itself. So I was contracting for Yelp. That's how it eventually transformed into a full-time or part-time job. Yes, what I really love is that at Yelp, I'm able to work with incredibly talented people. Whereas, bootstrapping a SaaS is a bit lonely. So I have my co-founder and it's great. We're working more than 15 years together. We know each other like incredibly well. I know what will fly and what will not. So I'm able to I think communicate exactly what is needed. So again, a way not to lose time and go directly to the biggest value. But sometimes, it gets a bit lonely. You're in your own bubble. And at Yelp, I'm able to work alongside people that, also speaking about university and more formal training, attended Stanford, Harvard, Berkeley, whatever. And in the SaaS or Bootstrap world, you might be like, yeah, university is useless. Like, we don't care. But believe me, those people are the smartest people ever. It's super nice. And I'm learning a lot from them, and also like enjoying the network effect of this. So I have a lot of ex-colleague that left Yelp now, but now work at Meta or Google or I don't know, any of those major companies. And I'm able to kind of use this. So just to give you a story around this, for ImprovMX. So ImprovMX is a email forwarding company. We have a very powerful API to do like very advanced email forwarding, basically. It's really useful for bootstrappers that have a ton of domains and they don't want to monitor like hundreds of inboxes. So what you can do is just route all of these emails for your vanity domains onto your main inbox. But we also have a lot of like universities providing aliases to their alumni, or things like churches, etc., etc. And once we had a big deliverability issue with Gmail, and Gmail is like 70 or 80% of our redirection inboxes.
Right, makes sense.
It's huge.
Yeah.
If anything goes wrong with Gmail, we are toast. It's really, really bad. And at this point, we were getting somehow flagged by their anti-abuse system because something went wrong, and etc. I won't get into the details, but like basically, Gmail was refusing any email coming from ImprovMX.
Oh, wow.
It's like the disaster scenario.
Sure.
And so the problem with Gmail is that it's kind of a black box. There's no support team.
Yeah.
There is no, like, they make it super, super hard to do anything with them. I think just because it's really unmanageable. They have like billion of users. And also because they might not really care. So after much hunting, I found like one form for postmasters that you can kind of submit something and plead your case and explain, please, we are good people. We didn't mean to, like, this is what happened and stuff like this. Please unban us, basically, because we are legit. And then when you submit the form, it says something like, we will not reply. You might, like, someone will look at this within a week, but you will never receive a reply. We will not tell you what happened if we've done anything. So, when you are like firefighting an incident like this, basically your customers are like, I'm not getting my emails. That's super critical. And the only answer from that other provider, like they are the only one that can fix it, is, yeah, maybe we'll see, maybe in a week.
Maybe yes, maybe not, right?
And so coming back to the initial question, like that network that I have from my ex-colleagues at Yelp helped me a lot, because I just went on LinkedIn and looked at everyone I know that worked at Google and reached out and like, hey, it's Antoine, how are you? Can you help me with this? I have this problem, and maybe you can like not really solve it yourself because Google is gigantic, but maybe you can look in the wiki, like some kind of escalation procedure, or just ping someone. Like, that would be great. And it helped. Like, I was able to get it fixed. If I would be bootstrapping, not have this, I would never have the chance to build such a network of like talented, high achievers.
Makes sense.
A bit of a
it happened to me once. We have been blocked on Facebook, like, I don't know, every other hour. And then I would go and unblock us. And and the communication is also horrible. I don't know if you've been there. It's just like, talk to a bot. So you never understand what's happening there. And I did absolutely the same. I went onto my student network that, was still kind of live after I left the university. I didn't drop out.
Smart.
Right. And I reached out to a person that worked on Facebook, and she actually had to put like an internal ticket to like help this person, which was absolutely wild because, like, again, it's a huge company. right? And if you have to go through, like, if you jump so many hoops for this one little ticket, you know, if something like really bad happens and you don't have the network, ouch. And it probably, I don't know, if you do that, if you use it in any capacity, but probably when you're building something and you have an idea that you need to validate, you can probably go to so many people that are so good at their jobs, and you know, they can point out like what went wrong, or
exactly.
Okay, all right. But ImprovMX is not your first business too. You were been doing my research, and I realized that, you know, you've been a bit closer to like what SaaS Group is doing than I realized at first, because your, I want to say first, I'm not sure, business was Transfer Slot, which is a lot like what acquire.com is doing right now. So how did you get there? Because like what you're doing now is such a dramatic change, right? There was a marketplace to sell businesses, and now it's a very technical product. So how did you start with that?
Yeah. So it was not our first product. Actually, there were so many first products that we never actually launched. It's a big failure on our part, I guess, because some of those things that we've put like hundreds of thousands of hours in, we've had the typical founder feeling of like, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. Look at the competition, etc. And mind you, this was like 15 plus years ago. We were really, really new to this, and like the internet seemed gigantic and like impossible to conquer in a way, or like impossible to make a small dent.
Back then already, yeah.
Exactly. At some point, we wanted to build a status page business. So it's a status, like it gives you a status page to give maintenance notice to your customers, or tell them whenever something is not working, right? Like my story from the incident with Gmail earlier. And with this, I was like, okay, how do we get customers for this? And I thought, well, I could just send some emails like outbound. And it was not really a thing yet, cold emailing. So I was like, how do I find these people email address? I think it's kind of always the same, right? Like, I guess you're Anna at
saas.group.
Right? It's not an insane thing to find out, right? So it's either this or first name dot last name, or first letter of the name dot last name, etc. So at this point, I asked my co-founder Cyril, hey, how long would it take to build like a small tool that would just do these 20 permutations and return the actual email that is valid? So you can do things technically where you connect to the email server and you like do a few comments, almost like if you would send an email to that person, but you stop at the data command where you actually trigger that email. And so there are some complications, etc., but this is how it used to work at least 10 years ago. And we were able to do this. And Cyril answered like 2 hours. I can do this in 2 hours. I'm like, okay, let's just do it. And at the time, we had the idea to brand it a bit like a butler. Like you send it to your butler and he will find this person for you. And it was called Norbert. The domain was voilanorbert.com. And so it ended up to be a big success. We got featured on Lifehacker, which was big at the time, Hacker News, Product Hunt, etc. It was really big. And we got a ton of traffic. We were like, oh, good. Maybe we should monetize.
Best 2 hours of our lives.
Exactly. Like just for the story. My co-founder is back-end developer, works on infra and all of that stuff. And I'm doing design and front-end. And just for the fun story, I never really finalized the front end. So the list of emails that was returned was just the unstyled list that you get like out of the bat from HTML.
Okay.
And we're like, okay, I will finish it someday. Then someone picks it up from somewhere. Maybe we posted it in a comment. And people start writing all these articles about it and take screenshots of this and like record YouTube videos. Hey, you can find emails and stuff. And it has this mistake and no one really cares. So I was like, oh, that's really funny. It means this thing is pretty much useful as is. And so, of course, we invested in making it better.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, we ended up growing it to, I think, something like 150K annual recurring revenue, ARR. And then we decided that we wanted to exit it, just for the reason that, we started seeing all of this abuse from like crazy marketers that just want to send very spammy things to 100,000, 100,000 or a million of people. And we're like, oh, this is not the internet we really like. So we have built something that had a different mindset in the beginning, right? Like it was just me trying to find the email address of someone that I could have found if I would have researched a bit more.
Yeah.
And I was trying to be a good player where like my cold emails would have been not a drip campaign of 10 emails and like harassing you. And, like I'm sure you've received some of this.
It still happens. It's
super
horrible.
Annoying. But our customers were the person doing this. And we were not really at peace with this. And so we've decided, okay, do we shut it down? That's really hard when you have something that makes money. Or we at least exit it and focus our time on something else, not trying to make this better and like, And so we've sold it to Ram Ventures from Surjan Patel and Bob Sinov.
Okay.
They own a suite of other email products like Mailshake, Right Inbox, and some others. And so this fit right in. Basically, it was top of the funnel for them.
Yeah.
Because it was freemium, it also had a ton of traffic. So I guess they could monetize it extra as well. It was a really good fit. They were great buyers. I think they still own it now. Pretty sure they grew it really, really well. But this whole acquisition story was a bit... it was really hard. Yeah. So we've used a broker, FE International. They were great, but it's still a ton of work.
It is a ton of work.
Sometimes it felt like it should be way simpler. Like, I don't know if you've opened a bank account or something and you felt like, come on, like I filled this information for the third time. Why? Don't they have like a database with everything?
Yeah.
So sometimes it felt a bit like this and, talking to lawyers and like filling documents and signing stuff and like counter-signing stuff. And we thought, okay, maybe that makes sense for a business that is a bit bigger, like we started to be. But what about all those smaller things, the tools that make like $500 a month or, something like this? Maybe there is a market for those. And you don't need to go through a broker. Actually, if you would ask FE International about this, I think they would be like, "Oh, sorry, we don't." Really.
We didn't do this.
Exactly, like there is a minimum, right? Because they are working for you. They are building a prospectus, etc., going for buyers. And so we were like, maybe now that we've exited and we have nothing on our hand, we have no more product. I was doing a bit of product design contracting on the side, but I thought we should launch our next thing. And what if it's this? And so that's when I believe we saw Transfer Slot on Product Hunt. And we're like, oh, that's exactly what we should launch. And I think at this point, Cyril reached out to the person that launched it. And like, oh, I see that you haven't updated it in like a few months. Is this still a thing? Like, is this still alive? And that person was like, oh, no, it was harder than I thought. Like, if you want, I can just give it to you for free.
Oh, wow.
Like, okay, that's cool. Let's just take it over. And we got the domain transferred, redesigned the whole thing, and relaunched it. And so we suddenly became like company brokers.
Yeah.
Which was fun at the beginning, less fun in the in the long term, because we realized that our mode with Cyril and I is tech. Like we can build really, really good tech. And this marketplace was something that anyone really could build technically, right? Like it could be a WordPress site. It could be with Webflow and I don't know, Framer. You can do that very easily. It's just a static site with product listings. We realized that, no, this is not the thing we should build. And also it started to be like if we want to grow, we have to provide more like services, due diligence for buyers, etc. And so, funny enough, we got a message from FE International, the broker that sold Voilà Norbert for us. Ismail Rixon, the founder, was just telling me, hey, do you have a minute? Like, I'd love to talk about this thing. And he offered to buy us. And I think we did a very, very quick deal. Mind you, it was just, I don't know, 15K ARR or something.
Because we got it for free still.
We got it for free. So we were selling veto rights for buyers. Okay. So you could go in like a premium queue and you'd get the listings posted on your inbox a day before they go live. Oh. And if you wanted, you could press a button and it would veto that product for you and would not go live for, I believe, a week, for as long as you like talk with that person and like decide if it's a thing that you want to acquire. Oh, interesting. Exactly. I would imagine it did create a few problems for those who were selling too, because no, I think they didn't really mind because it was not too long. It was just like your listing is going live a bit later, but they still had someone that was interested in buying, so they were happy. And I think we were selling this for like $100 a month, so big, but also very small compared to the value that the people could be getting. You know. Well, anyway, so like, again, long story short, it was not the right fit for us because the thing we could bring more into the market is our technical expertise and build things that a lot of other people cannot build as well. Right. So this is why we've sold it as well. Okay. But that, you know, I like that it kind of grew out of your own problem, right? You didn't really enjoy the acquisition. I mean, few people really do. That's why that's what we're fighting for at SaaS Group, to like really streamline the process and make it as transparent and hustle-free as possible. But yeah, then there was a little bit of a break, right, before you stumbled upon ImprovMX. But also you didn't build it from scratch. You acquired it as well. So again, kind of a mindset that we really like, right? Why build everything if you can just acquire, like, at the beginning, a good product which didn't go anywhere for whatever reasons. So how did you find it? How did you buy it? How did it go for you acquiring a product, so being on the other side? Yeah. So we were using ImprovMX ourselves for a few years. And with TransferSlot, we were a bit in the mindset of like, oh, if we build this marketplace, we could also be this kind of premium buyer. Mm-hmm. You know, we got some cash from the sale of Norbert. And so we had the financial resources to acquire something small and then grow it. So it was a bit tempting, and we were kind of looking around, sending a few emails to the things that we liked, looking into the FE International listings as well. I believe acquire.com was not really a thing yet. So anyway, we're looking at Flippa and all of those like more regular ones. Yeah. But we could never really find something. And I believe it's because when someone is trying to actively sell and it's really small, usually it's just not great. The quality is not there. Like, it's not worth much. And it was really hard to find something that was a match for us as well. Yeah, what was the question again? I got lost in the That's okay. So how did you decide to buy it? And what was your experience with buying it? Because like, I feel like every time there is like a deal is being dragged or founders talk about having not such a good experience, everything is kind of blamed on a buyer. So like they stall, or like due diligence is not going really well, or they're not serious at the end. But I know, like from our experiences, that there are two parties in this game, right? Yeah. So it's a lot about the seller as well. So yeah, how did you feel? Yeah. How was your seller, and how was you as a buyer? So eventually we were like, what are the services that we love and that we use? Because if we use it, probably a ton of people are using it too because we found it somewhere, etc. So at the time, ImprovMX was just one landing page with 2 input fields where like you could put your domain name and the redirection email that you wanted to go to. Then hit submit. You then would go to change your DNS settings to point to this, etc. But basically, you couldn't change anything anymore. Once you submitted it, it was over. So we're like, okay, well, I think we could like really do something here. Like there's a lot of opportunity to make it better. Also, because you only put your domain and redirection email, it meant you could only have what we call catch-all email addresses.
Okay.
Which means if I write to Anna at saas.group or Antoine at saas.group or Tim or Toby or whatever, it would only go to one redirection email. You couldn't create aliases that redirect to your inbox, someone else's inbox, etc. So this was a big opportunity as well. And we were like, okay, let's just reach out and let's see. And I think Alexander Tereshkin, which was the owner of this, the founder, actually, a dev, very technical. He started also to see and experience the problems of running this as a solopreneur or even like a solo dev. He just built it as a need for him to just do something quick and nice.
Right.
It was not monetizing it. So infra costs started to pile up and he was not seeing anything in return. I think he had the idea that, yeah, maybe I could charge for it, but how? I'm not really good at this. I'm more of a tech guy. So when we reached out, we were like, okay, well, I think you've built something great, but we have to do everything basically. So what we bought is the audience.
Okay.
It had a ton of articles already, so driving a ton of organic traffic, was really well ranked in SEO, etc. This is what we've bought. And acquisition price, I think it was around $5,000 or $6,000.
Okay.
So not a ton of money.
Right. Still a tiny deal.
And so for us, it was a small bet. And I think for us, we tried to avoid what we've seen in the acquisition that we went through ourselves. So dragging time, trying kind of to trick the other people into reducing the price, really. And yeah, in general, just try to be nice, right? Like there's an easy transaction to be made. This is what's going on for you. This is what's going on for us. We, of course, need to have some safety around like, how do we exchange things that are really hard to exchange, like a domain name, for example, the code, etc. We ended up anyway not using the code and just redoing everything from scratch. But yeah, exactly, like the domain name. This is what we need and to take over because this is what we bought. And so I think, again, like trying to just be a nice citizen and make it as seamless as possible for both parties.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely fun being in the buyer seat and trying to build the experience that we wanted.
Yeah, I think the baseline, you're absolutely right. And it doesn't matter if it's 5K or 5 million. The baseline is just like be transparent, be nice. That's why we're kind of very serious with our like handshake agreement. If you sign an LOI, it probably means we're not going anywhere. Even if you hit something, we will, like 99% chance we will work around it. We will find a solution for it. Just because it has to be very transparent from the very beginning, right? And if we like each other, let's get there. So yeah, fun. Okay. So you acquired this company, and I think the most important question is, of course, monetization, because it wasn't monetized. How did you know? How do you find, the ways to monetize it? How did you find the best pricing? Because I know that there is still a free version, there is premium and business, I want to say.
That's right.
Yeah. So how did you get to this?
Yeah, so we are not the best A/B testers and stuff. I don't really believe in it.
Okay.
I think also come from this whole Basecamp philosophy of building products, which is like, does it matter to A/B test the color of a button when you have 50 people coming on your landing page? Probably not, right? Like you have to have bigger swings.
Yeah.
And so what we thought was like, I think if we bring a bit of just friction on the free plan, but not too much. You don't want to like make it so much friction that the free plan is useless and then people are not like doing that step to sign up. Then the idea is that they would pay for a premium offering. So one things we've done in the beginning was to reduce the number of domain names you can add on your account to, I believe it was something like 30 domains. Before it was unlimited, mind you, but like, and I was like, okay, let's just put a limit to 30 domain. If anyone want more, then they will likely pay for it. Same for the number of aliases, etc. Just to give you an idea, now we've reduced this number to 1 domain per account.
Yeah.
And I believe it's something like 10 aliases. And so we still believe that the free plan offers you enough to do just the thing that you need. If you start adding a second domain, a third domain, etc., it's fine if you just pay us $9 a month. Right? It's $90 a year. It's just not that much for email. It's such a commodity that it's hard to charge more.
Yeah.
People expect email to be free or anything related to email, right?
Absolutely.
But yes, that was our general idea, and then we've added some extra features like webhook support for premium, SMTP sending, so it means you can also send emails from your aliases with the premium plan. Regular expression matching, regex, so it means like you can do things.
With the free one, you got to Google SMTP.
Exactly. So this is a bit...
You can still work around it.
Exactly. You can still work around it. There are some caveats. It's a bit of an undocumented thing from Google. So like they could kind of take it away tomorrow.
Okay.
A bit hacky. So we just put a disclaimer over there, but we are not trying to discourage you. Actually, we have a guide on our page that explains you how to set that up.
Yeah.
And so the idea is like, yeah, sure, use the free plan. Actually, if you want to use Gmail SMTP, totally fine by us. It doesn't cost us anything, right? If you want to use our SMTP, it provides a bit of a like bigger limit, like you can send more. We have a retry strategy, so if it doesn't get delivered, it retries from many IP, etc. It's a bit better. But some customers just require it because if you go in the business and enterprise plan, think of MIT or Berkeley, for example, that have 1,000 or 10,000 of alumni. They need this scale, right? So, yeah, it was not easy to monetize, and we are still making changes. And I'd say the main problem with us is that people don't perceive a lot the value of email.
Okay.
And so it's hard to explain this. We have a lot of in-product upsells at the right thing. So one of the main thing we sell with Premium is that your emails are put in priority in the queue compared to the normal crowd.
Yeah.
And so if you're kind of waiting for an email for 20 seconds or so and it's like irritating you, you can just pay Premium and it would come in 2 seconds. So a lot of those things, although, you know what I would not want to do ethically is just to say, okay, free users, we delay their email for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure. No.
We don't want to do this. It just sucks. It feels wrong. We could though, and I'm sure we would like skyrocket the profit. But what happened in the long term is people would just start to say, this product sucks.
Yeah.
And then this whole freemium model of getting marketing for free is broken. And so I think you have to play the game if you go with this pricing structure, right?
Yeah, it has to be fair still,
Yeah.
right? You don't have to hijack everyone else's processes if you want to sell more, right?
Yeah.
There still should be value.
Yeah.
But okay, and I wanted to ask more about just bringing customers, because as far as I know, there's over 100K users worldwide for ImprovMX. How do you bring new customers? Because I mean, I've looked around, haven't found much. Like, you're not advertising. How do you bring new users? What's your customer acquisition channel?
We're not advertising. We're not spending any budget there or anything. We're not doing any marketing in the sense of what is expected from marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But you could say like me being in that podcast could be marketing
Sure,
somehow.
absolutely.
Though it's not because you're going to listen to this episode that you're like, oh, I need to like migrate my email forwarding strategy to ImprovMX. So it's really more on two things. SEO, we're really, really well ranked. And that's part of what we bought from the initial founder.
Yeah.
We've invested a lot in this, but mind you, not like an SEO guru of like tracking everything and like trying to make the domain authority and like buying backlinks and stuff. We were like, hey, let's just write good content.
Yeah.
Let's use all the best on-site practices like optimizing the load time and semantic HTML and like optimizing things like the page titles and all of this, and like the structure of the content as well. We have guides for every provider, etc. And so this helped us to really show up very high in search queries, plus all the traffic that is brought to us for free from things like Alternative to Capturagy to Trustpilot, all of those sites where we have really stellar reviews from that free plan. And people are like, oh yeah, it's exactly what I needed. And also very funny, but like YouTube videos. A lot of people like productivity experts, business experts, whatever, they record free product demos for us, basically. Like, hey, here's how you can do it. Just use ImprovMX, do this, do this, do this. And it's funny because, you know, shooting some kind of video like this for us would cost a ton of time, money, etc. But some people are doing it for free and with really good production value.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like always mind-blowing to see.
Yeah.
And it's really, bringing this. But honestly, the secret is the free plan. They would not write about us or record those videos if there would not be the free plan, I think.
Right. Or if it was just a bad product, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
there you go. But absolutely agree. Like with my previous company, it was a technical startup. So we did the same. I think we used a bit of a more guerrilla approach to like listings. I think we listed the product on, I don't know, over 1,000 like listing websites, like G2 or like all those. Turned out like it worked, right? I'm not sure how it's going now because like, of course, like you kind of just monitor everything. You're on 1,000 websites. Somewhere you will lose the comments, somewhere people will be unhappy and you cannot catch it. So it could bite you in the ass in the long run, but I think it's still important to have it. And for content creators, I mean, right now especially, even though there's so many new products, everyone wants to do more content and just get the reach. Okay. And so after that, I want to say it properly, Fernand.
Yeah, that's great. Fernand. Yeah,
Fernand. Okay, I'll do my best. Came into the picture, right? Again, as far as I remember from your personal struggles with the support tickets, how did you decide to do it? And please, because I know the story of the name. But tell this again because I think it's just so cute.
Yeah, sure. So you did a pretty good job. It's called Fernand.
Fernand, okay.
And it was actually the name of my grandfather. He was a postman in the Alsace, this region of France in the east near the German border and the Swiss border. Has a ton of vineyards and stuff. It's beautiful. He was a postman there and he was hiking like 10 kilometers up the mountain every day, doing his round, delivering letters and going back down. And I always wanted to pay him a bit of an homage because I knew him, but unfortunately only after he got like a stroke or something. He was just like basically sitting in his chair the whole day. You could see a few smiles sometime, but it's not like I've played soccer with him or anything like this. Yeah, I thought this was really a great fit with Fernand, which is a customer messaging platform, because, delivering messages, delivering letters, etc. And the second thing is that Cyril, my co-founder, is actually also my brother-in-law.
Okay.
So he married my sister. They have 3 kids. And I thought this is kind of a unique thing with us too. It's a family business almost.
Yeah.
And so it'd be nice to bring this family angle somehow. So of course it's my grandfather, not his, but there is still a connection with my sister, etc. And the third thing was that, Norbert was also a French name, or the butler thing. So it was a nice kind of throwback to that area. And I like the idea of like having a little postman face to embody those things. So that's the story behind the name. And like why we've launched this, you might ask, like, yeah, you just don't have time. You have a full-time job, you have 2 kids, you have already ImprovMX. Why launch something else, right?
Right.
And so the idea is that we love ImprovMX, but we also reached a place where we've hired people. We have 4 employees now, 2 support engineer, 1 site reliability engineer, basically making sure that it's always up and running and emails are delivering really well. And we also recently hired a kind of CEO, like head of product.
Okay.
It's a transfuge from DigitalOcean. So he knows the hosting world and all of this space really, really well. And the idea is that this person is now driving the strategy, kind of still overseen by us too, but like for us. Why? It's because we are builders. We're really builders. We love to build stuff. And with ImprovMX in the last years, we started to become operators.
Yeah.
And, it's fun for a while. And there is this thrill of, we got to the next milestone of MRR and whatever, and it's nice. But you start dealing with hiring and legal and security and even marketing. And that's not that fun, like putting those processes down for us. We're just like, okay, can we just work on the product again? Please. And we always had this hitch with customer support because we believe that customer support should be not a cost center or not only a cost center. It should be something that's embedded in the product. So we've done customer support ourselves here in Knife for like the last 15 years, basically, where we answer customer requests and try to do it extremely well and timely, etc. Of course, with a freemium product that has 100,000 users, we have a ton of support requests. I would say a ton by our standards, which mean maybe 20, 30 per day.
Okay.
And they might be a bit difficult. So you have to like do a bit of forensics on why an email hasn't delivered the right way, etc. And like with email, this is one of the hardest thing in the world because it just breaks at many different layers. It's a very old protocol. It's just like kind of mind-boggling that we are still using this now, but we are. And anyway, there are a ton of challenges. That's why we have 2 support engineers to help us with this. But we're always thinking of like doing support is the best way to learn about your product.
Sure.
Pitfalls, like it's like running a user research continuously. And you also hear firsthand that feedback in context. So like that person or your customer experience that pain right now. They have all this emotion around it, etc.
Yeah.
Which is why AI is definitely going to change this space in the future or has already.
That was my question.
Right. But it cannot solve the last 20% of this human approach, this context of like, what is that person not only writing, but feeling, and like all that is inferred and etc. So it's doing a great job at like helping you reset your password.
Yeah.
Or answering a question that you would have in your knowledge base already, etc. But I would still say it's a tool for people, for humans to go faster at it.
Yeah.
There should still be a human that's like doing
that's
this,
supporting, on the next level.
Exactly. And so that's what we've done with Fernand. We took this approach of trying to build the most modern tool ever. So if you think about the linear, the Supabase, the Vercel, the Superhuman that's a bit closer to email, how can we build that ultimate experience for the end user, for the people that are actually spending 8 hours a day responding to customers, and not the people that are buying the software. So if you look at our competitor landing pages, you would see that it's really all around metrics and like trying to improve customer satisfaction score and stuff. It's like who is addressed through those landing page is the director of CX, or it's like operation manager or whatever. But those people are not the one that spend time on the floor, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't care if pasting a link in the editor like auto format it very well, or like if you can paste code blocks when you are responding to customers that need a more technical thing. Like all of those quality of life improvements is really what we've doubled down on. We've become like super opinionated about all of this, what we want to build and what we don't want to build, and try to build that most minimal yet powerful interface ever for that thing and do it really, really, really well. And the last thing is we try to build it in a way that it's calm, because me as a founder doing support for ImprovMX, we were using Intercom, and Intercom is a really great tool. It's really, really good. I think it's really one of the best tools that you can have. But at some point, it started to feel a bit like, oh, I had problems typing app.intercom.io or something in my browser bar because I felt like every letter brought me closer to seeing that pain from customers, those angry customers. It's like, okay, I'm going to spend an hour now in a world of pain.
Yeah.
And it's just so hard. Like my fingers felt like, no, I just want to procrastinate away from this. And this is what happens with your brain. So with Fernand, we took this approach to say, we're using every psychological lever we can to make that as calm, relaxed, focused as possible. So we are taking you by the hand when you log in and we say, hey, Anna, this is how your support queue looks like right now, which is about the same as usual. Or, oh God, like it's really bad, or it's much better than usual. So we're able to tell you like basically what you would do if you ask a colleague that works on support, like, hi, how's support right now?
Okay.
So we're trying to answer this. And then we take you by the hand and say, okay, now on to the next most urgent requests. We do a sorting for you. And then we show you that next request front and center. There's no like 5 or 6 column layout. You just see what you need to see right now, which is like the conversation with that person and a sidebar with context data, like what kind of payment plan they are on with Stripe, what kind of other contextual data that you need to have from them. But see one thing at a time and not like be distracted by too many things. You see a progress bar when you complete an action, either assign it, snooze it, or close it. You go toward, I don't know, if you had three conversations open on your like to-do list on the inbox, you'd go to 33%, and then the next is 66, and then to 100%. And once you reach 100%, the next thing you see is a very nice like inbox zero Zen image of animals or mountains or something from Unsplash. It looks really nice. So I've curated 366 for those social years images, trying to match them sometimes with funny stuff that happen around the world. Like for
talk about focusing on details. I mean,
exactly.
That's great. No, I mean, well, you're a great designer, so you know I would not assume otherwise. So, but I think it's an incredible focus on the end user, because absolutely there with you. A lot of messaging on a lot of websites goes to the buyer of the product,
exactly,
right? Not really the person that's going to use it, and that would make it a completely different story, right? It would be a completely different problem for them. So kudos for that. And also about AI, I was talking to Bootstrapping, right? Chris, but kind of a competitor, I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
In a way. But yeah, we were talking about AI and how it's changing everything. Also very, very opinionated on but I guess you're very similar in that way, because he also talks about Yeah, sure, AI maybe, but only for like dumb, let's call them that, let me Google it for you kind of questions, right? So something that's already there, something that you can easily find in the search on the website, that yes, but when you have to dig deeper, I mean, there's nothing better than a person yet.
Yeah. I've seen that they're doubling down on this. So they are building their own AI, or
Yeah.
at least they are training this. So yeah, it's great to see them. And one thing on competition, because I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
I love that they're bootstrapped. They are doing their own thing. They are in an order of magnitude way higher than or above that what Fernand is at right now. So it's just the two of us, basically. Our employees are just focusing on ImprovMX, and we are not like pulling them or putting resources on Fernand. I believe they are like 20-ish or maybe even more
I think
at
so,
Crisp
yeah.
at this moment. I think for a niche like this, could you even call it a niche, right? Like it's a market. Basically, almost every company in the world needs a shared inbox, a knowledge base, a live chat, whatever.
Yeah.
And so this is like opening a restaurant. I can look out the window right now. There is a restaurant here, another in front.
Yeah.
Is it bad? Like, I think they just offer different things. This one offers tapas. The other is a bit more like German food.
Yeah.
People are going to those restaurants for different reasons at different times. And I think I'm seeing Fernand a bit like this. So like, we're not trying to compete with the Intercom and the Zendesks of the world. We shouldn't. Like, that would be pretty stupid from us. We're trying to first build it for us, and we're using it for our products, and we're really happy with what it transformed. And thinking a lot of other people have this exact same need, and those are the ones that we'd want to attract. But we are not going to like suddenly move our focus from SaaS to like e-commerce by, let's say, oh, it's just about building a Shopify plugin. No, because this is not the motto of it. Like, we really want to do this one thing right, especially since, we've started the podcast with, hey, you don't have so much time and you're slower and stuff. Well, if we're slower, we have to focus on the main thing and keep this minimalism aspect of the tools as a moat. We cannot compete on this feature race because we will always be behind, basically. But we can compete on this quality of software. Like, every feature, every pixel we put in there has a meaning and is meant for something. So I think that's a nice way to look at it.
Oh yeah, and about the design, I mean, I've been to both websites. Really loved it. It really, and then I went to Transfer Slot, and it was like, okay, so that's also Antoine. Like, you can see it's very prominent to your design. But okay, just a couple more questions. I have a ton more, but we will talk again tomorrow at Code Talks, and then you have your own talk as well. We'll discuss bootstrapping, and you will talk more about the whole having more time and delegating and prioritizing.
Exactly.
So yeah, this will be also on YouTube. I will definitely share it. But yeah, a couple more questions that are usual for this setting. First, could you share a hack that works for you in both companies that you're building? Can be anything. Can be something very straightforward about pricing, like why you keep it that low and why you intend to not test too much. Or I don't know, maybe the way you hire, anything that may be not as conventional, but is good for you.
I could think of a few, but like the main thing that comes to mind comes around hiring. We had a ton of issues, right? Like, we had 25K MRR. How do you attract, let's say, an SRE, so site reliability engineer, that is really good, that can have autonomy and like, because we are synchronous remote, we need someone that's kind of senior, or really senior actually. And a lot of the people we've attracted were like, oh, I'm working at this company, prominent company. My compensation is like 300-400K a year. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's not gonna be possible. Sorry.
Right.
And so we try not to waste people's time and be really upfront about this, like what we can offer and what we can pay. And I really like to believe we provide really generous compensation packages because that's, I feel, very fair, and that should never be in the question frame. Like, people should never feel like, they're kind of cheating on it. Like they're kind of lowballing me all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you pay people 20% more than their happy salary, this is out of the question. And like, you anyway. And so one thing that I found as a cool hack is to offer different things that that are non-monetary, like great benefits around flexibility. So every of our employees on a 4-day work week as well.
Okay.
So practice what you preach, right? They're on a 4-day work week. They work remote and asynchronously. So they are basically spread between the US, the UK, Pakistan, and Malaysia.
Okay.
So it's like a wide
lot of it,
array.
yeah.
Exactly. It's asynchronous. So it means, we have this workspace and we discuss. And like, if someone reply on their work time zone 3 hours later, it's fine. Again, it's okay to be a bit slower as long as there is consensus. And so, offering this 4-day work week was really key in getting those talents because, for example, our head of product, it was working at a more established company. And like, he was looking for that flexibility. I want this flexibility. My work is so narrow. Maybe there was something like return to office kind of thing. And we were able to say, well, look, with us, you'll have this. And so that's how we were able to attract this talent versus trying to compete with FANG kind of companies on like total compensation packages.
Yeah.
This is insane. We'll just never get this. So I think that's a nice bit of a hack I learned. We also used, I'll say this wrong, but I think it's 4dayweek.io or something like this. It's a job board.
Okay.
Where people are actively looking for 4-day work week jobs. And it got us a ton of like referrals of nice motivated people. So pretty nice.
All right. Well, I could totally see how it would work. At the SaaS group, we also offer that. It's up to you. You can do 5-day, 4-day, really, whatever you choose. Remote, of course. Now I'm in Hamburg, but next week I'm going to be back in Vietnam, and so it's. I mean, flexibility is the best, honestly, especially like right now. Okay, and the last one is, again, the same. Everyone gets it. What's so far the biggest win, the biggest failure? Could be for any company that you have or for you as a founder. How do you feel it?
So, biggest win, I have to, it's probably the exit from Norbert because it put us in a completely different realm. Suddenly we had money and we could do a bit of this finance optimization, like, hey, we can allocate this amount of money for this. This is for our salaries. Like, wow, that's cool. And, when you're bootstrapping with just like ramen profitability, those questions don't ask themselves. You're always grinding, like always trying to survive. And suddenly having a lot of money at your disposal just changed the whole world for us. We were able to be much more calm. So it was really instrumental. And I think what was really cool and what I also label it as a win is we've created this. Remember, like the initial story, like, I'll do this in 2 hours. It was just like from scratch, from zero, just from a silly little IDE of a tool. And suddenly we grow it into something. We have like customers, they are paying us, and they're paying us like sometimes like big amounts because you could buy prepaid credits and stuff like for $1,000. And we're like, wow, we've created something from thin air. That's really, really cool. So as a builder, that's like super exciting, motivating. So that was a big win. And failure, I'd say I still think about those early products, a lot. And we have this joke with my co-founder that it would have worked. It would have really worked. Like, no, in hindsight, it's easy to say because we know more and we know what would have ticked and not. But it was just so stupid to keep it for ourselves and discourage ourselves, like, no one will want this.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've shared that Jason Fried is gonna come on the pod later. And so one thing that really opened my eyes was reading Getting Real. I believe it's their first book from Basecamp. They wrote basically a guide to bootstrapping or building a product.
Yeah.
And I remember reading this on the plane. I was going somewhere and I'm like, God, I don't need VC. I don't need this. Like, I felt like we would never be able to compete because we didn't have those things. I'm not from a fancy thing. My parents don't have money, etc. You know, like what it was like, it suddenly gave me permission that I could succeed with this kind of bootstrapped attitude.
Yeah.
Because if they've done it, I could do it too.
You could do it, yeah.
Yeah, and everything you would read in the book is like, you know, this like very common practice everybody tells you to do, like, I don't know, you need a business plan? No, you don't need a business plan. No one cares. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Like that's how we do it. So finally this word really like permission to do stuff. And that's why I really love this attitude.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell him today because the last episode we did also one of actually founders of companies that we acquired at SaaS Group wrote to me like, can you tell Jason that Getting Real was one of the reasons we built the company? And I'm like, sure, of course. And now there is you. But yeah, about the business plan. Oh my God, like when I first had to do it, like back at the university even, and like we got reached out by like real companies. Can you make a business plan of us like expand into a different country? I thought like, why would you? And they also required like 40 pages, I think, at least. And I was like, what are you even going to put there? Like I can do like a little big font, but like otherwise it cannot really help you. Like that's why I completely botched my thesis for that reason. But yeah, business plans, completely agree. Like, oh, just do it. But yeah, thank you for telling me this story and all the audience. I'm sure everyone will enjoy it. A ton more questions we will cover tomorrow and the day after tomorrow at Code Talks. So yeah, thank you for joining as well. And yeah, talk to you again sometime.
Sure, would love to. Thanks, Anna.
All right, take care.
Take care.